Hello, everybody. You have tuned in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant Rich Myers with District 52 Public Information Office. Thank you for joining us today. We want to thank the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance, for their continued support of this show. Thank you for your continued monies towards this show so we can have our program each and every week. We want to thank Tom for putting us on the video, Tom behind the camera there. And we also want to thank my guest today, which is Rick Castle. Rick, thanks for coming in today.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate you being here. Rick is a retired Indiana State Police chaplain. How many years did you have with us, Rick?
Almost 26.
Wow. And now a current chaplain, the senior chaplain at Speedway Police Department. And it is something that is not talked about and not very well known, but a very, very important job of police is the chaplain of the police department. So I want to kind of get your background and what got you started as an Indiana State Police chaplain. How did that come about, Rick?
Well, really, in the beginning, I lived next door to a detective with the Terre Haute Police Department and got an interest in law enforcement.
Okay.
Went to Indiana State and got my criminology degree and got my master's in criminology and ended up becoming a probation officer. And then a few years later, I became I went to seminary and became a full-time professional minister with a criminology degree. And
kind of a natural fit then, wasn't it?
I was in a church for a couple of years, and Father Cooley, who was the then senior state staff police chaplain, came calling on me, knew of my background, and even took me to lunch, bought my lunch, which was
He had you hooked then. He had you hooked.
Very rare. So he recruited me to become a volunteer chaplain to state police. And
now, what year was that?
That was actually is December of 88. It was official then on January 2nd of 89.
Were you still in the Terre Haute area then?
No, we were in Anderson, Indiana, and I started out at the Pendleton post with Claude Zook was the lieutenant at that time.
Yeah, okay. So Father Cooley brings you on. What kind of training do you say? Do you give you the old Catholic cross and say, there you go out and do it?
Almost. He already knew about my background with criminology and probation work and working in an alcohol drug treatment center. So I had a lot of background coming into the position.
I understand.
And then I started to learn about the International Conference of Police Chaplains and got some additional training through them.
And that's something we're going to talk about here in the show also is some training that's coming up through those, and that's going to be offered throughout the state, isn't it?
Yes, it is. State Police Staff Chaplain Dan Coffey is going to be conducting the training for the 12 basic core courses, which the International Conference of Police Chaplains, ICPC, thinks every chaplain ought to have to just be well-grounded in their beginning.
And this is something that kind of on the forefront, I understand. There's never actually been this offering of training before for chaplains?
Not with the state police chaplains. They could have gotten training through the ICPC, but Dan Coffey's gone to the extent of getting the training to be he went through train the trainers so he could start.
So he's an official trainer.
He's an official trainer for ICPC for the 12 core courses.
Okay.
So he's going through that with all of our state police chaplains so that they have these 12 basic core courses.
Okay. So when this is completed, when this is done, are they certified then through ICPC, or how does that work?
We don't use the term certification anymore. We used to. It's credentialed.
Okay.
We can credential them, which means we can testify that they've been through these core courses.
Okay.
Whether they're competent to actually use them or not, it's a whole different matter. That becomes a legal thing.
I understand that. Now, are most the chaplains throughout Indiana volunteer chaplains?
Yes. There's only about 5 or 6, maybe 7 full-time chaplains within the state of Indiana. One of them's on the state police, and then you have IMPD, Marion, Indiana, maybe Gary, also up in Noblesville with the Sheriff's Department. So there are very, very few. Most of the chaplains in the state, and there would probably be in the neighborhood of 400 to 500 of those are all volunteers.
Okay.
And about 50 of those are with state police.
Okay. That's a large group. I didn't know there was that many.
Yeah.
Wow. So give me a little background. What do the chaplains do, or what's expected of the chaplain?
Well, a chaplain, and it depends on where you go, and each department may be a little bit different. State police, the chaplains are there to do counseling with troopers, to make hospital calls and visits and funeral home visits, and once in a while conduct a funeral or a wedding for state troopers or their family members when called upon.
Okay.
And once in a while they get called out to go assist the troopers to make death notifications.
And that's one of the areas I wanted to point out, and is so much appreciated by the troopers. I know that's one of the most difficult things I've done on the department, and to have that clergy person there with you to comfort the family and to talk to them is worth a price of gold.
I've never yet met a trooper, Rich, who wasn't glad to have a chaplain along and really didn't want to do it if the chaplain could do it.
Oh, yeah. Amazing how that can, and the family that you go to talk to.
Well, and then the chaplain can stay with the family if the trooper's got other work he needs to get back to his regular assigned beat.
Yes, yeah, I understand that. So do you also work with a lot of the families within the department also?
Whenever there's a need for the hospital calls for counseling, marriage counseling, just counseling in general, our chaplains are willing to do that.
That's great.
They're willing to get out any time of day or night whenever the need is there.
Yeah, because a lot of times your services aren't 8 to 4.
No. I've been called out at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning a lot of times.
Yeah. I got to get up and go to the service. Well, again, we're listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm Sergeant Rich Myers from the Indiana State Police District 52 Public Information Office. I have with me Rick Castle, who's a retired ISP chaplain for our department and now the senior chaplain at the Speedway Police Department. We're talking about the chaplain program for the Indiana State Police and all state police, or all agencies throughout Indiana. Now, Rick, do you find that it varies between department, or is it pretty much formalized throughout the departments?
Well, it's fairly formalized through most of the departments. A lot of our chaplains go out and make the actual death notifications, and we sometimes have to do detective work to figure out where everybody is. You know, sometimes we have traffic accidents where identification takes a long time, and once that positive ID's been made, then the chaplain and the trooper or the officer can go out, find the family, and make that notification.
Yeah, I understand that, because and many times too, it's not even within the state, so we have to do detective work throughout the state of Indiana and other states.
Yeah, that's right, and we work with other police agencies and state police agencies around the country to get those notifications done. We prefer to do it in person whenever possible.
Yeah.
Although with the advent of cell phones, sometimes we have to do it by phone, which we don't like, but it happens.
Yeah. Sometimes it has to be to where it happens at. Now, what kind of training do you do besides the ICPC? Is there any other training that you all go through?
Well, every fall, the state police chaplains have an annual fall meeting where they do more work in terms of recognizing chaplains in their longevity years of service, but they also get training in terms of what else is happening in the state police and what's on the cusp of coming to take place. We have some very good instruction that takes place from some of our troopers in terms of what's going on with drugs, what do chaplains need to know about the rest of Indiana State Police areas with motor vehicle and inspections and all those kind of different responsibilities too.
Now, is that held same place every year, or do you guys move that around?
Well, it's mostly down at the United Methodist Home in Franklin, Indiana, but it has been moved around in 2 or 3 other different places from time to time.
Is that a one-day affair? Or?
It's just a one-day thing.
Okay. That, I'm sure, comes in handy throughout the rest of the year when you're talking to other chaplains. Do you have other chaplains from other departments come through also?
Well, they don't come to that meeting.
Okay.
But they may also be serving other departments besides the state police. There's several of them that have additional departments that they serve.
Well, just like you now, do you go back to this being retired to that one or not?
I don't know. I just retired last October 16th, so...
See if your invitation's in the mail?
See if I get an invitation in the mail.
I understand that. Now, when you're, how do they qualify a chaplain? Is there a certain process that you have to go through?
Well, in the past, chaplains have been expected to have a Master of Divinity degree from an accredited seminary or Bible college. They have been expected to have some pastoral experience in a local parish someplace.
Right.
And they also, it's a plus if they have some clinical pastoral education, CPE, through one of the hospitals in the state. that always helps with their qualifications as well.
Good. And the background checks, is that something?
Oh, they do have to go through a background check, of course. Thank you.
Okay.
We want to be very careful that we don't get somebody in there that puts on a real good front but doesn't have the background to back it up.
Yeah, I understand that. Now, is there certain things that you have to attend monthly, or is that required, or just the yearly thing that you guys go to?
Well, just a yearly thing, but they also want us to just make post visits and be out there for the annual memorial services.
Exactly, and that's coming up.
That's coming up the whole month of May, because National Police Week is May 15th.
Right.
And so each of the state police posts in Indiana have an annual memorial service, and chaplains are asked and expected to be there.
Well, you being with the Speedway, senior pastor with the Speedway Police Department, have got a busy time coming up this month also.
The month of May, we have that opportunity to get out to the racetrack, and a lot of what we do is just go visit with the troopers and the officers that are out at the track just doing their regular duties out there.
And the good Lord knows we need the help out there.
Yeah, amen.
That's a busy time, but it's a good time.
And we pray that there's nobody who has accidents coming or going from the motor speedway.
Yeah, or during the race at all.
Exactly, that too.
That's great. Now, do you have people under you through Speedway? Do you have
in Speedway? I've got 4 other chaplains that work with me.
Okay.
I've got 2 Catholic priests and a United Methodist and independent Christian chaplain. He's also a chaplain for the Indianapolis Racing League.
Okay. Wow.
For the Indy race cars.
So he's a fast chaplain.
Bob Hills, he's a fast chaplain.
Well, that's good. And so during the month of May, do they accompany you out there, or do you take shifts, or how do you work?
Well, we just get out there when we can. And
okay.
Been in parish ministry, the 2 Catholic chaplains and the United Methodist minister, they've got responsibilities at their churches, but we get out there when we can.
Now, I was reading on the website here for the state police, it says there's a featured chaplain for the month. Didn't know anything about that.
No, that's brand new.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, I'm glad that they're doing that.
Yeah, and it says they have their bio and their photo on there, so that's something that, and we want to mention that too. If you're interested in learning more about the chaplain program for the Indiana State Police, you can go to our website at www.in.gov/ISP, and there's a link to the chaplain program on the Indiana State Police. And it is very, very interesting on what happens under that and how that works, and how if somebody is interested in becoming a chaplain, I'm sure you're not turning anybody down.
Well, I've talked to a lot of pastors who are interested in becoming police chaplains, both with state and with other agencies.
Now, before we leave, I want to touch a little more on the ICPC. That is open to any chaplain throughout Indiana?
It's open to any chaplain throughout the United States and indeed around the world.
Oh, good.
We have about 2,500 members, including chaplains from Kenya, Europe, the Caribbean area, a couple in South America and Central America, and Canada and the United States.
And the one thing I was reading about what Chaplain Coffee sent out here that I know is very, very important to a lot of people is at no cost. No cost to attend this training.
Well, there is a cost to attend the chaplain's training at the annual training seminar of the ICPC.
But what
Chaplain Coffee is offering this training to state police chaplains, the DNR chaplains, and other chaplains in the local area. If there's availability to come in and to receive this training at no cost to them.
And if you're interested, it's available to any police chaplain currently appointed by a police agency within the state of Indiana. Is specifically invited. Chaplain coordinator, chaplain liaison, chief executive officer is encouraged to attend with their chaplain. So not only the chaplain, but they would like the people, the head of the department, to come in also.
Yeah, exactly. The executives at the agencies need to know what a chaplain's program should be and how to start one if they don't have it.
It's great information. Well, Rick, we're out of time. We've talked up our 15 minutes, but I appreciate you being with us today.
Delighted to be here and wish everybody well, and be safe out there, troopers.
Well, thank you for what you do. We appreciate your volunteerism to the department.
You're very welcome.
What you do. Again, you've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance. Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. We've been talking with retired Indiana State Police Chaplain Rick Castle. Make sure you listen to Roadshow next week. Roadshow out.